Political party mergers. We're joined this morning by Mr. Funso Ologunde, who is the Assistant State Publicity Secretary of the Action Congress of Nigeria. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Well, yes, we did take a look at this matter yesterday, and the guest we had just didn't see how this was going to work. In fact, he went down memory lane. He says in history it has never worked, and that greed is one thing that will stick out like a sore thumb and they will come crashing like a pack of cards. He was just completely pessimistic. Do you think this is going to work?
It is going to work. The person who made those observations on television yesterday is a staunch member of the PDP. And naturally, I don't expect a member of the PDP or a lover of the PDP to pray that an alliance or a merger that is going to unseat the PDP from Aso Rock would work.
So was it wrong in any of those assertions that historically it hasn't worked, that maybe personal interests might impede the merger?
If he went back into memory lane that in the past such attempts did not work, I think he is dead wrong. The ones that did not work were alliances. And if you go back, UPGA was an alliance, the United Progressive Grand Alliance was an alliance. The one formed by the political parties against the NPN was an alliance, not a merger. So we are talking now of a merger which involves each political party dropping its own identity and everybody being subsumed under a new party with a new identity.
Is there any merger, any merger that has worked in the past?
We have never had a merger whereby political parties dropped their identities and fused into one. We have never had, that is not in history in this country. And even if, let us even assume we have such in history somewhere else, not in Nigeria, it does not mean that if a merger failed in one place or at a particular point in time, the people who want to go into a new merger will not know how to do it better with greater wisdom. The objective is what is most important. We want a merger where a new identity is going to be created and everybody will drop his or her membership card, take the membership card of a new political party.
Okay, so in other words, you're saying is, in layman's terms, yes, you're about to form a new political party.
By the grace of God. So
all the ideologies of all these parties that are coming together now will be dropped and you form a whole new ideology.
A whole new ideology.
What's the purpose of this new party?
The purpose is to salvage Nigeria from the ruins into which the People's Democratic Party has plunged the nation.
I mean, to capture power, as
No, I don't want to use the word to capture power. To salvage the country from the ruins.
Okay, let's just see how you react to this. Our guest yesterday said something about the fact that it's not to save Nigeria, it's about to fill your own pocket. You feel the other party has filled their pockets enough, it's your turn.
Well, if he said the PDP has filled its pocket enough and has been filling it since 1999, that's a good confession by
let's talk about you. Let's leave him alone.
If he
is
said
it true that you're coming to fill your pockets?
No, you could only say that by projecting what has been happening since 1999. And I want to say here before Nigeria that projection into a new political party to which the ACN, CPC, APGA and other things are going to enter will also toe the line of the PDP is dead wrong.
What can you say the ACN has learned in the past? Because if you go down memory lane, it all started with the southwest states being taken up by the AD, Alliance for Democracy.
Yes.
And analysts will say the mistake made by the AD at that point in time was not to fill their own presidential candidate when they had this alliance with the APP at that time, the All People's Party, which finally became metamorphosed into the ANPP. So that was a costly mistake that saw the AD, later on ACN, lose most of the southwest state except Lagos. So are you not going to make such mistake again this time around?
No, my reaction is your inferences are completely wrong.
So what's illogical in this?
It was, they are completely wrong, and I will put the situation straight because I was a very active participant in that alliance that you're talking about. The alliance between the All People's Party and the Alliance for Democracy in 1999 against the PDP in the presidential election. So I know details of what happened. And the reason for AD losing the governorship in the subsequent election is simply because President Obasanjo used state machinery to rig out the AD governors.
Really?
And yes, I'm saying it. If he has never denied it for all the times people have been saying it, and I will say further, the principal objective of PDP at that time was to unseat the AD in the Southwest. And when President Obasanjo started talking to the AD governors one by one, it was only Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the governor of Lagos State, that said no, he was not going to enter into any pact with you to support you for presidential election, so that you will not, in your second term, be re-elected president of Nigeria by the 5 other geopolitical zones, with him not performing well in the Southwest. Because he was approaching them one by one. Please support me for the presidential election, so that I will not be a president without a home base. The other AD governors sympathized with him and saw some logic in what he was saying. But that's
the case. That's the case, Mr. Ologunde, because they agreed with him because they were playing the ethnic card.
Because they did it to their own peril. Asiwaju was also a governor at that time, and he called them and warned them. If you try to ride on the back of a tiger, you end up in his belly. And let me bring back to focus on the day of the election. President Obasanjo quickly cast his vote in his ward and drove straight to the house of Chief Oshoba, the incumbent governor of Ogun State on that day. He engaged him in a draft game and used that to tie the man down, because with the president sitting in your house on election day, how will you leave him? It will be, it will be discourteous on the part of Oshoba to leave him and say you wanted to go out on a visit around the polling booth to see what was happening. And it was a strategic thing by President Obasanjo at that time, that he was going to kill him down in his house to prevent him from going out and being briefed. And with Obasanjo there, people could not come and brief Oshoba that, look, things were going wrong. What? So it was a strategic thing. The subsequent election, when the 2007 elections, when the elections came on board again, what happened? No, the 2011 election, the 2011 elections, when Fashola came in as the governor of Lagos State. No, not 2011, 2007, the first time. You remember what happened? PDP won. They rigged the election in Osun State. They rigged it in Ekiti State. They rigged it in Edo State. But what happened at the tribunals? They even rigged it in Ondo State. But because the ACN had good machinery to gather its own results and collate, we were able to prove them, to establish the fact that the PDP rigged in those states. Even though they will always say you to rig through the courts. Well, they have to give an explanation for whatever. If they felt we rigged through the courts, they should have exposed it, because both parties had lawyers. They came with a lot of sounds.